Alright, radio check, radio check. We should be live. Thank you everyone for tuning in. We have got 160 people already tuned in, and we are 30 minutes away from the start of qualifying here in Las Vegas. Thank you everyone for tuning in at such an early hour, and yeah, it's gonna be exciting. Well, I'll run you through what's happened in free practice 1, 2, and 3. Um, but yeah, it's been very very interesting. The pace here in Las Vegas has totally been mixed up. There have been quite a few interesting stories coming out. Um, Apologies for my voice sounding totally different. That's mainly just due to the fact that I woke up about half an hour ago, um, and have had nothing. Well, I've had one slice of bread toast to eat. Um, yeah. I think Mercedes do have a chance for pole here. This is very, very interesting. So, if we cast our minds back to last year, we saw that Ferrari at Las Vegas were really good, and they were actually putting up a very, very good fight with Red Bull. Red Bull, last year totally dominated, Max Verstappen winning nearly every single Grand Prix. However, at Las Vegas, Ferrari were managed to challenge him all the way till the very end. It got very, very close. Max Verstappen still did win in the end. However, Ferrari were very close in that battle. Um, and the reason for Ferrari being so close in that battle was because the track was so cold in Las Vegas, and Ferrari last year, their last year car had overheating issues in the warm up procedure of their tires. They would always overheat their tires during the race, during qualifying, but because the track temperature was so low, the fact that they overheated their tires was an advantage, because that meant that when the track conditions were super low, when the track temperatures were super low, uh, the Ferrari car would warm its tires up into the correct operating window, and they managed to extract all of the performance out of the car to, actually challenge Red Bull. This year around, Ferrari have fixed those overheating issues that they were having at all of the other circuits, and they don't have any sort of tire wear issues now. However, now they come to Las Vegas and the track temperature is 16 degrees. Like that's lower than the track temperature we had in Brazil, and it was raining in Brazil. Um, so very very low track temperature, and Ferrari once again not that quick because they can't switch those tires on. All of the teams, everyone is talking about tire warm up. We may even see drivers do double warm up laps, even though this lap is quite long. We may see double warm up laps being done just because the tires need to be get into the correct window before they start their quali lap. Um, just Red Bull did bring the correct rear wing is funny. Yeah, I mean, there's been a lot of talk in the paddock that Red Bull brought the wrong wing. I think Helmut Marko said something. It was like, "Oh yeah, we've brought the wrong wing, and we're not going to be able to ship the right wing out in time for the race." And all of those rumors were just the nonsense Formula One rumors that we hear all the time, really. And yeah, Red Bull did have the right wing. I mean, it makes sense. Like, they've had 3 weeks to prepare for the Las Vegas Grand Prix. They knew which rear wing they used last year. I just think in practice they set it up the wrong way, and that meant that they weren't so quick. Hello, F1 Gamer. Is Guan Yu Zhou and Valtteri Bottas confirmed without seat for 2025? I think that it has basically been confirmed. I'm pretty sure Gabriel Bortoleto will be getting the the Audi drive for next year. I think Bottas is in talks with Mercedes to become a reserve test driver, or either a reserve driver or a test driver. But I think it'll be a reserve. And for example, if Kimi Antonelli or George Russell next year were for some reason not able to take part in a race, then Valtteri Bottas would be substituted in. Yeah. Why is Stroll on the track? Well, currently we've got the FP3 timings up, and Stroll crashed in FP3, so that's why he is. He crashed in FP3, brought out a red flag, and that's why he's just sat there on the exit turn number 12. Right. I don't know. Oh, maybe he didn't crash. Maybe he just had issues with his car. But yeah. Um, I, as you can tell, I did not watch FP3 because it was at 2 a.m. for me, and that's also why I didn't commentate it. So yeah, apologies for that. But yeah, waking up my roommates at 2 a.m. probably isn't the smartest move, to be honest. So I decided to not commentate. All right. Yeah, we're 20 minutes away. What else have we got to talk about? Lando Norris has been complaining a little bit, saying that the car is not so good in the high fuel runs. The low fuel runs are acceptable, and the low grip conditions make it manageable in low when you have not enough when you have low fuel in the car. However, once you do put in an extra, 50, 60, 70 kilograms of fuel, he's saying that the car becomes undrivable. Now, maybe that's just a McLaren problem, but I think it's a problem just for every single car, because the grip conditions are so low. And I don't think the Pirellis were really designed to be running at track temperatures of 16 degrees. And yeah, essentially, because if you think about all of the other countries where we do have night races, we have night races in Singapore, we have night races in Bahrain, and those places are very, very hot. So the track temperature isn't even all that low, even though it may be nighttime. Track temperatures is still fairly high, and Las Vegas is the one outlier there. All right. Um, is Max going to win this? You shall wait and see. I'm sure Max will be complaining as well. All of the drivers are complaining, um, but that's pretty standard. And they haven't had to deal with these kind of conditions since last year. Really, the last time they dealt with any conditions like this was in the Las Vegas Grand Prix last year. So, yeah. All right. Yeah, okay, so let's have a look at the practice debrief. If you have a bit of a look, Verstappen does have quite a bit of work to do. If we looked at purely the qualifying data from yesterday, that would indicate that there's a 2/10 of a second gap between Ferrari and Red Bull. Ferrari seem to be the fastest team, with McLaren and Mercedes in second and third place, right next within half a tenth of Ferrari. So the top three very, very close, and then Red Bull 2/10 back. Which is a little bit surprising. However, Red Bull did have a very bad day in practice yesterday. As I said, it looked like they'd brought the wrong rear ring. They obviously hadn't brought the wrong one, but it looked like they had. They were so slow down the straights. The Saubers were quicker than them, going down the main straights. So yeah, they've sorted out those issues, and they will be quicker for today. All right, F1 Gamer, did you hear that F1 is getting an 11th team? Yes, I think it's Andretti slash Cadillac, or so. I'm not sure exactly. I just saw one post about it, I think, on Reddit when I was just checking the news before I started streaming. But yeah, I mean, it's a good thing if we'll have 22 cars on the paddock. That'll be two more seats in Formula One, and maybe we can get some more rookies in. Maybe we can have some more experienced drivers like Bottas as well, still driving. That would be fantastic. Of course, if Andretti and Cadillac do join Formula One, I'm sure they'll want an American driver. So maybe Logan Sargent isn't going to cut it, but there'll be someone else that can maybe take in that spot. And yeah, it'd be fantastic for the sport to have an American team, an American driver. Um, hmm Okay. What do you guys think? Will the British media find the press conference if Max wins this time? Well, see, this was the way that the reason Max made that joke was, well, there were of course no British media there. However, there was no Dutch media there as well. The reason is, and it's a little bit more complicated than it always meets the eye, but that press conference that happens with the official Formula One press conference, the drivers are, they have to be there, and it's always transcripted. So all of the journalists, they know that someone else is going to go ask the obvious and important questions like, oh, how was your drive? Like, how did you do so well, Max? Where did you find all of this grip? And then they'll be asking Pierre Gasly and Esteban Ocon, like, how does it feel to be back on the podium? And how was the race for you? And etc. etc. And they know all of that information will be put into a transcript that they can read later to write out their news articles. So the journalists, in fact, don't go to the official media conference, and they go and talk to the other drivers, where they won't get an official question, where they won't get an official transcript of what happened and what their opinions are on the race. And they go ask them questions, because that's when they can write their own articles and things like that. So the reason there was no British media, there was no Dutch media, because everything's already written out and transcripted, so they can just have a look at it later. But of course, that is not as that's not as nice as thinking, oh, the British media just didn't come to ask Max any questions because he's Dutch or whatever. I'm sure that would be a nicer way for some people to look at it, but in reality, it's just because it's all saved. All right. Is the track room temperature right now? Well, if we have a look at it, let's see. Have we got the data coming through for free practice 3? No, not for. We've had free practice 3 data, of course. The QUALI data is yet to come through, so I'll let you know of the track temperature when the data comes through. Okay. How many laps will there be in the Las Vegas Grand Prix? I think there'll be 51 laps. I'm not 100% certain, actually. Yeah. Normally, I remember all of them. However, we've only raced at Las Vegas last year, so I have totally forgotten. Let's just have a look. 50 laps, not 51. Okay. All right. What else have we got to talk about? Any reactions to the fastest point being officially scrapped for 2025 season and beyond? Well, I see. This is the thing. The fastest lap point is a good. It should still be part of the sport. However, I think it should still be part of the sport. But the way that it should work is the driver within the top 10. Only a driver within the top 10 is able to score this fastest lap point, because otherwise you'll have drivers in 19th and 20th position coming in for the second to last lap, and they'd come into the pits, and then they'd put on a set of softs and get the fastest lap. And in reality, they shouldn't get the fastest lap point. It should be someone at the top. So it's a bit of a catch-22, because if you create a fastest lap point, then you will for sure create scenarios where drivers will come into the pits just to get the fastest lap. However, you just want the fastest lap to be awarded to the driver that's actually got the most pace. Sometimes that goes down to strategy. If someone's doing a 2-stop, they will have a quicker fastest lap than someone who's doing a 1-stop, because the 1-stop driver has to conserve their tires more. So in a way that you could have it and it wouldn't matter too much. You couldn't have it and it also wouldn't matter too much. It's not that major of a deal. So I guess removing it isn't all that bad. But having it also isn't all that good. Like, it's not gonna change the world or anything. Not to sound rude, but you sound like you have a cold. Yeah, I do. Of course, I'm here in the UK now, and in November it starts getting pretty cold, and subsequently I have got a cold as well. Yeah. Why did Leclerc finish only P12? I think he must have just aborted his hot laps, to be honest. That's the only real reason. Ferrari are pretty quick in reality, so yeah, not too much to worry there. Oh, there are ads. Whoops, let me just disable the adverts. There we go. All right. Apologies for that. Okay. Will Max become the next Vettel by winning the Las Vegas Grand Prix, finishing ahead of Lando, and resulting in a fourth World Drivers' Championship in a row? Yes, I mean it'd be very similar to Seb Vettel, of course, winning 4 Drivers' Championships in a row with Red Bull. Yeah, I don't know exactly what that would mean for his future career. I think Verstappen will stay at Red Bull for quite a while. maybe he'll switch over to the other fastest teams. Like in 2026, consider Aston Martin become the fastest team because Adrian Newey's there. Then if Fernando Alonso was to leave, then I'm sure they would look to get Max Verstappen in. But as of now, it looks like he'll be continuing for Red Bull, with Red Bull for quite a while. Hey, your channel is not showing up when I search your name on YouTube. I got here because I opt to get notified when the stream goes live. Yeah, that's just happened because I haven't streamed in 3 weeks or something because, well, there's been no Formula One race and the YouTube algorithm tends to prefer more recent stuff. So, yeah, that's why other stuff comes up when you search F1 Gamer because it's a pretty, people just the F1 game, that's you're more likely to get videos of the F1 game than F1 Gamer if I haven't streamed in a while. However, since I've streamed today, I'll be back in the search results for tomorrow and the day after. Well, tomorrow and next weekend. Okay, let's pray for Williams get a better car for next year. Of course, yeah, Carlos Sainz and Alex Albon will be driving for Williams next year. Two very, very good drivers. Carlos Sainz does feel a little hard done by, one of the best drivers, managing to keep up with Charles Leclerc, sometimes even surpass him. But he's been sort of demoted down the Formula One grid and has now gone to Williams rather than being at Red Bull. Not Red Bull, sorry, being at Ferrari. Of course, this is through no fault of his own, really. Ferrari wanted to sign Lewis Hamilton, and Lewis Hamilton will always be, Lewis Hamilton and Max Verstappen are two drivers on the same level. Everyone else is below them, no matter how good your form is. You'll always be, Lewis Hamilton will always be picked over you, and that's just the way that it's worked out for Carlos Sainz, unfortunately. Hamilton was open to the idea of joining Ferrari. Ferrari's golden driver for so many years has been Charles Leclerc. They're not going to kick him out. So who's going to make space? It's going to have to be Carlos Sainz, unfortunately. Hello, mate. Is it true that Red Bull brought the wrong wing for Vegas? No, it is not true. In fact, it's just scrolled off the screen now. But no, they have brought the correct rear wing. They just set it up in the wrong way. Good morning, OG London girl. Nice to see that you're here. I mean, if you're actually in London, then the time will be 5:48 a.m., which will be nice and fun to get up for. Williams is pretty much the best choice after the top four teams in Aston Martin. Yeah, I think Aston Martin should be improving for next year. We normally see Aston Martin start off the season very, very well, so maybe if they can continue that form next year, then that'll be good. However, I'm pretty sure in considering in guessing that Aston Martin will redirect all, if not all, of its resources to developing the 2026 car. And Adrian Newey will, of course, be joining in on the 1st of March in 2025, which means that, well, they are going to start work as soon as possible on the 2026 car, as soon as Adrian Newey joins. Yeah. Right, too sad Magnussen showing off now, but has to leave. Yeah, Magnussen. Yeah, Magnussen doesn't have a contract for next year. Nico Hülkenberg's teammate does. He's driving for Audi. However, K-Mag, it looks like he's also going to be out of a contract. With so many new rookies coming into Formula One, some of the drivers do have to make space. Of course, ideally it shouldn't be K-Mag, it shouldn't be Valtteri Bottas. Maybe, it makes sense that Guan Yu Zhou is making space for a rookie. I'd say maybe. Well, I don't know because I think Perez is underperforming, but I don't think you can put a rookie right next to Max Verstappen. That would just destroy their career right there and then. But yeah, someone has to make space, and the way that things have gone, it's Valtteri Bottas and Kevin Magnussen. Getting 5 rookies this year, and the fact that we probably had 0 driver moves last year, yeah, that definitely does make up for the fact 5 rookies in a year is going to be very, very exciting to see how that goes. Of course, Kimi Antonelli joining directly at Mercedes, that will be a very big challenge for him. However, Toto Wolff, I think, has full faith that he'll live up to the challenge, and we'll see what he can do. Right. Yuki to Red Bull. I mean, Yuki to Red Bull should happen, like theoretically. However, I think there's some internal politics going on at Red Bull regarding Yuki Tsunoda's contract, because Yuki Tsunoda is technically only driving at Racing Bulls because he's a Japanese driver and Honda want him to drive at Red Bull. So because of that, Red Bull or Racing Bulls are essentially giving Yuki the seat in return for Honda giving them the engines. And they technically don't have to promote Yuki up to Red Bull. However, it does make sense. So I don't know. There's some sort of internal politics going on, and that's probably why we haven't seen Yuki Tsunoda get promoted. And that's probably, and I'm guessing that's something similar for Sergio Perez. Of course, the rumor goes that Sergio Perez makes so much money from Mexican sponsors. He makes so much money for the Red Bull team via Mexican sponsors and all of the merch that he sells in Mexico. That's why they're keeping him in the team. I'm sure there are some other reasons that we can't really see, and I guess we'll never know. But yeah, Perez is still driving for next year as of now. So it's an interesting scenario there at Red Bull, and we shall see if he continues driving. There's always rumors floating around that Perez is about to be replaced, but it never seems to happen. So I guess we'll see. All right, there we go. We've just got the qualifying data coming through. Track temperature is 14.7 degrees, air temperature 12.1 degrees, extremely low track temperature and extremely low air temperature as well. The risk of rain is 0% as expected. Also, folks, if you guys haven't hit the like button, please be sure to do so. It hugely helps out the channel. And yeah, would very much be appreciated. Thank you everyone for tuning in. Here in Las Vegas, we have got the softest of the Pirelli tires, the C3 for C4 and C5 for the hard, medium, and soft respectively. And yeah, well, the drivers are most definitely going to be using the soft tires. They're probably going to do 2 warm-up laps because they definitely are going to need it. These soft tires are not going to get up into the correct temperature window as soon as possible. I mean, they'll drive out the pits. See, previously what we've seen, in all of the other qualifying sessions, what we see is the drivers, they're on 80-degree track temperature. Their tire temperature is 80 degrees as they come out the tire blankets. However, they're crawling around coming out the pit lane because they want to reduce their tire surface temperature as much as possible. The core is still at 80 degrees, and that's what they want it to be. However, the surface they want to reduce as much as possible, so they drive around super slowly as they come out the pit lane, super slowly on their outlap as well. But this weekend, I suspect we're going to be seeing something totally different. We're going to be seeing the drivers coming out of the pits ASAP, pushing as hard as possible. However, they don't want to push too hard because they don't want to wear out the tyres for their actual quali lap. So there's a balance to be found. And yeah, they're going to be maintaining that tyre temperature and not letting it drop too much. All right. Let's see. Who do you think is going to get pole position? Well, if I knew, then I would have placed a bet on it. But the Mercedes do look very quick this weekend, and the Ferraris in all of the simulations, if you add up all of the lap times and work out who was fastest in which sector on which lap, I think Ferrari are theoretically faster than the Mercedes. However, theory doesn't always correlate to reality, so I guess we'll wait and find out. Okay. I think they were taking an extra lap to warm up in free practice. Yeah, that makes sense. But that also does mean that they're limited in the number of runs they can do. Normally, we see drivers at least being able to do 3 runs in in Q1. With 18 minutes on the clock, you can normally do 3 runs. However, if you're going to do 2 warm up laps, you're only going to be able to do 2 runs. And in Q3, you'll be very tight for time as well to do 2 warm-up laps, then do a normal lap, and also come back into the pits for a new set of tyres and fuel. the timings are going to be very, very compressed in Q3, so the teams are going to have to be absolutely on it. Yeah. By the way, the Alpine thing about the PU and the gearbox, you misspelled gearbox, did I? Let's have a look. I probably did. I mean, I wrote this 15 minutes after waking up. Oh yeah, I did misspell gearbox. Thank you for that. All right, folks, we are 3 minutes away from the start of qualifying. Thank you everyone for tuning in. Be sure to hit the like button. And here we are now in Las Vegas, round number 22 of 24. We are on the third to last race of the season. We've traveled all the way around the globe. We are now back in America. And, well, here we are in Las Vegas. Okay, so the circuit is 6 kilometers long. We're going to have 50 laps of racing here tomorrow. 2 DRS zones, one, of course, down the main straight. Sorry, I think, are there 2 or 3? 1 sec, let me just. I'm pretty sure there's 2. One going down the straight between turn number 12 and turn number 14, and there's another DRS zone between turn number 4 and turn number 5. And yeah, there's not a DRS zone on the main straight, funnily enough. I don't know why they've not done that, but I guess it might help overtaking a little bit too much and make it far too easy to overtake. 16 corners. Well, technically 17, but in reality there's only 16 corners. And, well, a very, very interesting circuit. No elevation change, really, because Las Vegas is pretty flat. I'm pretty sure it's in the middle of a desert. And as I said earlier, the softest tyres from Pirelli's range, and qualifying getting underway very, very shortly. All right. Here we go then. Let me know what your predictions are, folks, in the chat. Is it going to be Charles Leclerc getting pole? Is it going to be George Russell? Is it going to be a surprise pole from Lewis Hamilton, who's been struggling in the past couple of weeks? I think, there have been. I think Toto Wolff said something like, "Oh, Hamilton's got a shelf life" or something. I'm not sure exactly. I didn't look into this because these claims are always just being thrown about. It doesn't really make much sense, to be honest, because Hamilton's been such a fantastic driver for Mercedes for so long. Why would Toto Wolff come out and say, "Oh, Hamilton's got a shelf life and he's not that quick anymore"? It makes no sense. But I think Toto Wolff also came out and said, "Oh, Mercedes hasn't been delivering for Hamilton." So yeah, I don't know what's going on there. And yeah, so Hamilton, maybe we can see him outperform his teammate, but George Russell has been on a very good run of form, and Hamilton has decidedly not been on a good run of form. So we shall wait and see. Is it going to be Piastri that's quicker than Norris? Of course, we saw that's what happened in sprint qualifying in Brazil. Maybe we will see that happen again. All right, we've already got drivers queuing up at the end of the pit lane. George Russell, Alex Albon, Gasly, Alonso, all of the drivers now queuing up at the end of the pit lane. In fact, we're just getting team radio messages coming through. 1 minute to go. And here we are then. If we look at the Constructors' Championship, McLaren are on 593 points, Ferrari on 557. The gap is rather large. However, if there's a single DNF from either of the drivers in either team, well, if there's a single DNF in McLaren and Ferrari score a double podium, the championship fight will really be back on very, very quickly. So let's not discount anyone just yet. Well, it'll be very, very exciting to see what happens. I think the drivers is very much confirmed. I think Max Verstappen is clearly going to win the drivers' championship. However, the constructors is still up for grabs. Okay, thought on Red Bull's final upgrades. Yeah, I think Red Bull did bring a couple of upgrades to their floor and front wing. However, it's very, very minor, and it's all circuit dependent because the circuit is fairly high speed. There's a lot of top speed parts of the circuit, They've brought some circuit-specific upgrades, and all of the teams have done that because they do have to just do that for a circuit like Las Vegas. Oh, the data's just frozen there. Oh, there we go. It's back. Okay, very nice. And now we have all of the drivers making their way out the pit lane. We'll keep an eye out to see if they're going to do double warm-up laps. Currently, the data for the tyres isn't showing coming through, but I can confirm that everyone is on the soft tyres. It'd make no sense to do on any other tyre. There may be some surprise exits in Q1. Traffic is a major issue. Yeah, traffic is a major issue. Of course, the circuit is quite long, 6 kilometers in total length. So the drivers being too closely packed together isn't the issue. The bigger issue is there are a lot of blind corners, and there are a lot of walls everywhere, which means that the drivers, even though they may be looking in their mirrors trying to watch out for drivers behind them, if they're behind a corner, they just cannot see them whatsoever. And because of that, they will accidentally be on the racing line when someone else comes through, and that's how you get a lap ruined. The DRS zones, let me just show you on the screen there. The DRS zones are down this back straight here, and there's also a DRS zone down this straight here. So those are the two DRS zones on the circuit. Yeah. All right. They should really just can Vegas and go to one of the many actual racetracks in the USA. I think I might agree with you on that one. Of course, it is partially very cool, that they're racing down the Las Vegas Strip. However, when Watkins Glen is a circuit that you're not racing at when you're not racing at Indianapolis, then I think you are missing out quite a bit. All right. George Russell says front brakes are smoking quite a lot, and then he comes right back into the pit. So he seems like George Russell's having some brake issues here. I don't know why you'd really be having brake issues unless your brakes are too cold, but that doesn't make any sense because why would they smoke? They would just not work as well. I'm not sure. But for some reason, George Russell's back into the pits. They're going to have to sort out his brakes, and then he'll go back out onto the circuit. We'll keep an eye out on these lap times, but it doesn't look like anyone's pushing because everyone's so clumped up together. Everyone is just doing double warm-ups, and then they'll start pushing for their actual hot laps. Very nice. Okay. We've got 3,400 people watching. Thank you everyone for tuning in. I hope you guys are enjoying the coverage. And glad to have you on the stream. All right. What else have we got going on here? Nothing much really. Pierre Gasly is pushing a little bit. However, I don't think it is a full. Yeah, it's not a full quali lap sim. Well, it's not a full proper quali lap. Very much of just a simulation run. All right, very nice, very nice. Here we go then. We are now actually going to start the proper flying laps. Here we've got Zhou and Bottas with a 1:36.7. I think both drivers were actually pushing there. The rest of the drivers 6, 7, 12 seconds off the pace. They were doing their warm-ups. Now they're doing their hot lap. So we will see the difference between doing a singular warm-up lap and a double warm-up lap by comparing all of these drivers now to the Saubers. Of course, the Saubers aren't going to be the quickest, and they're probably not going to be the best reference point. However, it's the only reference points that we have got. There have been some changes to the regulations. There's been a technical directive saying that the drivers are no longer allowed to protect their skid plate. Not the drivers, sorry. The teams are no longer allowed to protect their skid plate. Or it's not the skid plate or the plank, whatever you want to call it. Essentially, when the Formula 1 car is driving along and you see all of these sparks flying out the car, that is because there is a plank, I think it's a plank of wood or there's a plank of something that touches the ground and sparks away. and the drivers are only allowed to wear out a certain amount of the plank. There's like, I think there's a limit of like 1.2 millimeters or something like that, and only that much is allowed to get worn out. However, the regulations didn't say that you are allowed to protect the plank with anything else. So the teams would protect the plank, and because of that, they could run the plank even lower to the ground, and they could run the car even lower to the ground, and still not have as much wear on the tires because they had protected the plank. However, the FIA have now said you're not allowed to protect this, and that means that all of the teams that were protecting it earlier, they're going to have to change their ride height setups and run the car a little bit higher to make sure that they don't wear out the car. Because if you do wear out the skid block or the plank, then you will end up getting disqualified. I think it happened USA last year. Someone got onto the podium, but then ended up getting disqualified. But yeah, so that is what goes on with the skid block. All right, here we go then, folks. We have had the first couple of quali laps actually coming through now. Pierre Gasly a 134.5, Fernando Alonso a 134.5 as well. Sergio Perez comes across the line, fourth place for him, a 134.8. He's 4 tenths back from Alonso and Gasly, which makes me think that's not a good lap. Purple from the middle sector from Oscar Piastri now comes down the back straight just through the kink of turn number 17, and now across the line he goes up into first position, and he is half a second clear of the competition. Very, very nicely done. Now we've got the rest of the front runners coming through. Lando Norris, purple in the final sector, 30 milliseconds behind his teammate. The two McLaren drivers very, very well. Very, very close to each other. I was about to say George Hamilton. Lewis Hamilton has set the fastest first sector, and he is in third place there. He's 2 tenths back from Oscar Piastri, though, so it looks like McLaren are hiding a little bit of their pace, or Mercedes is yet to extract all of their pace. George Russell, he is 1 tenth back from his teammate, which is not something that I would have expected, really. I would have expected Russell to be the quicker driver. However, Russell's slower in the first and second sectors, and then quicker in the final sector, so maybe there's some sort of tyre warm-up issue there for him. Now we've just got Max Verstappen and the two Ferraris come through on their laps. Verstappen is just coming through the first sector now, and we've got the two Ferraris making their way to the final chicanes of turn number 14, 15 and 16. The car looks pretty good in the hands of Max Verstappen. He's going all the way to the barriers, pushing the limit quite as well. Very, very standard for Max Verstappen, really. He makes his way now through turn number 12, and now we're back onto Carlos Sainz. Green sectors for him, green sectors for Charles Leclerc. They come across the line, and they're 2 seconds off the pace. It looks like that was a warm-up lap for Carlos Sainz. It was a very quick warm-up lap, to say the least. However, a warm-up lap it looks like it was. And yeah, Charles Leclerc as well. Oh, Charles Leclerc's 12 seconds off the pace. Okay, so I guess Leclerc did less of a warm-up than Sainz did. But yeah, we'll wait and see. We'll see what Verstappen can do now. Verstappen, he is actually pushing, and he is pushed all 3 sectors, and it's only 5th position there for Max Verstappen. He is 0.3 seconds off Oscar Piastri, and a very, very big gap there. Did Red Bull get the correct wing on their cars? Yes, they did. So do Pop. As far as I know, the skid plate and the plank are 2 separate things, so the sparks will be coming from the skid plate, not the plank. Oh, yeah. Apologies for that. I don't know how I mix those 2 things up, and I'm just going to blame it on the fact that I've had about 4 hours of sleep. So, yeah. All right. Here we go. The Ferraris are pushing here. We've got Piastri improving as well. He's purple in the first sector. And now we've got Charles Leclerc and Sainz as well doing very, very well. Leclerc purple in the middle sector. And as he now makes his way through turn number 14, 15 and 16, he is pushing very, very hard. And And now he comes across the line. What's it going to be for Charles Leclerc? It is P1. He goes 1/10 quicker than Oscar Piastri, but Piastri's purple in the first sector, purple in the second sector, so I don't know how long that is going to last. Here comes Carlos Sainz out of the final corner. He's not pushing as of now. I think he's starting his flying lap now. Let's see. He's giving Piastri a little bit of a tow as well as they come through turn number 17. Here comes Oscar Piastri. What's it going to be? Oh my God. Oscar Piastri, half a second quicker than Charles Leclerc. How he has done that, I have no idea. Lando Norris as well. He's a 10th and a half back. But McLaren have got some secret tyre warm-up technique or something. Because half a second, that is enormous. Wow. Yeah, I don't know how they've done that. But what a lap there from Oscar Piastri. Simply sensational. All right, F1 Gamer, shout out the Patreons as the calm. Yeah, we'll do that. Red Bull got the correct rear wing, but the wrong driver. And so yeah, I think that's probably the best way to put it. All right, since we've had the first couple of quali laps, I might as well just quickly shout out the Patreons. And of course, on moderators as well, you know, you got to shout out the moderators. Moderators do a fantastic job of keeping the chat full of not spam messages. But yeah, it's, Stefan Tomaha 46, the Code Monster, Matt, Andrew Eastwood, Andrew N, Shush, Exoteric, Tragic Fun, Alfie, AJ, and Giuseppe are all Patreons. They all help out the channel, and it's very much appreciated. So if you guys do want to help out the channel, then there's a link in the description to the Patreon. Yeah, go ahead and check it out. All right, we've got a couple more laps coming through now. George Russell is purple in the first sector, Max Verstappen purple in the second sector. Track evolution is definitely going to be key here. Carlos Sainz, what a lap from him as well. He's 34 milliseconds off Piastri, splits the two McLarens. Fantastic job. It's a McLaren 1-3, Ferrari 2-4. But Max Verstappen is looking to change that. He is looking so quick as he drives this car, and he puts himself up into 4th position, just ahead of Charles Leclerc. And track evolution really ramping up, and that's why we're seeing such drastic changes in lap time, because this track is so sort of dusty, really. Of course, it is in a desert, so that means there is going to be a lot of sand and dust just flying around everywhere, a lot more than other places. And that means that the track evolution is going to be a lot more significant at such circuits. Wow, George Russell, what a lap from him. He goes half a second quicker than his teammate, and he's 1/10 ahead of Piastri, back up to the top of the timings. Fantastic job from George Russell. He did just another sensational lap just like this in FP3, managing to go 4/10 quicker than the competition in FP3. And he's done it again. Now, we are, of course, just in Q1, and the main focus will be the drivers in the elimination zone, of which is Valtteri Bottas, Esteban Ocon, K-Mag, Hulkenberg, and Stroll. However, K-Mag, Hulkenberg, and Stroll still yet to set a representative lap time. In fact, we got K-Mag and Hulkenberg just coming out the final couple corners now. So we shall see where they stand. But regardless, a very good job from George Russell up at the front. And if we have a look at... Oh, never mind. I don't know what I was going to say. Hulkenberg goes across the line a 152.6. That's 6 seconds off the pace. They definitely must be doing a warm-up lap there. And, oh, not even 6 seconds, 20 seconds off the pace. So that's clearly a warm-up, and now they're going to do their proper runs. But I think Haas are saving their tyres for some reason. I'm not 100% sure. I don't know why they would only do one run in Q1. But I guess they are saving their tyres for something, hoping to make it through into Q3, I'm guessing. We shall wait and see. All right. Oh, wow. We've got 6,000 people watching. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in, folks. That is very much appreciated. I didn't expect we'd have 6,000 people watching at such an early time, but I'm guessing there's quite a lot of you distributed around the world where the time zones aren't so bad. And yeah, thank you, everyone, for tuning in. I hope you're enjoying the coverage. And I shall keep you up to date on all the laps that are going on. All right, now we're actually getting some quick laps going through. Nico Hulkenberg just makes his way through turn number 13 there, gets rid of a toe off Yuki Tsunoda. That's going to help him out. Lawson should get out of the way as they enter turn number 14, 15, and 16. K-Mag as well, he's exited turn number 16, now coming towards the start-finish line. Ocon across the line up into 9th place. K-Mag across the line up into 9th place, pushes Ocon down into 10th. Then we have Franco Colapinto starting a lap. Nico Hulkenberg now across the line, currently in 19th, across the line up into 9th once again. 3 drivers cross the line, all of them going up into 9th position. Valtteri Bottas across the line into 15th, very, very marginally gets out of the elimination zone and then is promptly pushed back into it by his teammate. Zhou sets a quicker lap than Valtteri Bottas in quali. This is something that we haven't seen happen in a very long time. But Zhou up into 11th, Bottas in 16th, and Lance Stroll is just coming out of the pits now with 2 minutes 27 left on the clock. Verstappen, great lap from him, purple in the middle sector, and he goes up into first position, 64 milliseconds ahead of George Russell, and he's done this on a used set of tyres as well. I'd like to point that out. Max Verstappen set that lap on 7-lap-old soft tyres and still managed to improve. So yeah, the soft tyres aren't wearing out all that much because they're just not getting that hot. A lot of the tyre wear that we see is because the tyres are all the way up at the limit of the temperature. Pirelli say you can get 105 degrees max surface temperature before you start getting excessive tyre wear. And most of the teams, they run them at 100 and something degrees or 90, 98 or 95 degrees or something like that. But it looks like the tyre temperature are a little lower, and that's why we're seeing less tyre wear and the drivers can still push on older tyres. Okay, Perez is currently in the elimination zone. We've got a big queue. Just look at that humongous queue coming through now towards the final set of corners. Everyone is now queuing up. There may be a couple of drivers on hot laps there that could potentially have their laps ruined. Everyone's going to have to get out of the way accordingly. Perez is currently a 10th up on Valtteri Bottas, who's currently on the border of being eliminated or not. However, he's only a 10th and a half up, which is not that good of a sign. So let's wait and see. He exits turn number 16 now, and he's right behind there, Fernando Alonso, so that's going to help him out. He's going to get a bit of a toe off the Spaniard, and across the line goes Sergio Perez, 12th place for him. That should be enough. However, Stroll and Alonso are still yet to set their fastest laps, and I have a feeling that they're going to improve quite a bit. So, yeah, fingers crossed for Sergio Perez, I think. Do you think Red Bull was sandbagging in practice? I think Max Verstappen was sandbagging in practice. I don't think Red Bull were. Oh, we've got a yellow flag. Who is that? Is that K-Man going slowly? Oh, no, yellow flag has been cleared. Okay. George Russell on a purple lap there. Purple first sector, purple second sector. And let's wait and see what he can do. He's only got the final couple of corners, 14, 15, and 16. He navigates them very nicely, hits those apexes, and gets very, very close to the inside wall there. But navigates it all right. And Hamilton up into first place, but I don't think that's going to last long. Here comes George Russell, and he goes ahead of his teammate by 0.5 of a second. The Mercedes 1-2, haven't seen that in a very, very long time. And we've got Max Verstappen in third position. Colapinto, great lap for him up into 9th place. The checkered flag is fallen. Ocon up into 11th. Lawson currently in 19th. Across the line, 14th place for Lawson. Perez is into the He's in 15th place. He's on the brink of the elimination zone. He's not on a hot lap. There's nothing he can do now. Tsunoda improves. Perez has been eliminated unless there are lap times deleted. Albon did get a lap time deleted earlier. But let's wait and see who's currently on a flying lap. I think Bottas is, but he isn't improving. Yeah, Bottas comes across the line, doesn't improve. Guan Yu Zhou also across the line, does not improve. Then we've got Charles Leclerc currently in 4th. He comes into the pits. There's no point to come across the line for him. Now there's just Lance Stroll left. Lance Stroll and... No, Alonso's into the pit. Stroll comes across the line, 20th place for Stroll. He's 1.2 seconds off the pace, 2 tenths behind his teammate, and 20th position there for Lance Stroll. He's somehow slower than Valtteri Bottas in the Sauber. I have no idea how that has happened. I don't know how both Astons have been eliminated in Q1. But I guess this weekend is just not the weekend for them. Guan Yu Zhou makes it through into Q2, a fantastic job from him. Of course, we know now that he will be leaving Formula One at the end of this season, potentially looking for a reserve driver role or a test driver or something like that. But no longer with a race seat at the end of this season, and very nice to see him make it through into Q2. Yeah, Perez, something over the radio. I'm sure he won't be happy, and I'm sure the team won't be happy. But there we go, eliminated once again in Q1. Another qualifying session, another Perez Q1 elimination. Am I surprised? I can't say I am. All right. So that has been Q1, folks. We've got 7,000 people tuned in. Very much do appreciate everyone tuning in today. Be sure to hit the like button as well. It would very much be appreciated if we could hit 1,000 likes. That'd be fantastic. Yeah, a pretty good qualifying session so far. It's been a very, very big mix. Sometimes we've had the McLarens up there at the top. Sometimes we had the Ferrari. Sometimes we had Verstappen. Sometimes we had the Mercs. At the end of the Q1 session, it was the Mercedes at the top. However, I think Charles Leclerc and Verstappen, they all aborted their laps. They knew they were going to make it through. There was no point pushing, especially at a circuit like Vegas where the walls are so close. It's so easy to make a mistake. You'd rather just abort the lap and only push when you need to, and that is at the end of Q3. Okay. All right. Is the Red Bull wing fixed? The Red Bull wing is fixed. They didn't bring the wrong wing, so I'd just like to clarify. I think the Red Bull set up their wing in the incorrect way. I think they just had too much rear downforce. And because of that, their top speeds were too low, but they just reduced the rear wing angle, reduced the amount of downforce, reduced the amount of drag, and they're the same as everyone else. So no issues there for the Red Bull team. All right, at F1 Gamer, the Mercedes boys are looking rapid. Indeed, they are. However, I'm still not going to count out the Ferraris or the McLarens. Their pace, they were looking very, very quick as well. So who knows? It's anyone's game for pole. And this is what makes it so exciting, folks. I mean, next year in 2025, we're going to have all of the drivers get even close. All of the cars get even closer in performance as the regulations mature, and everyone sort of approaches this final 1 point of how fast the cars can go due to the current regulations. I think what we're going to see is even more fantastic racing next season, and I really cannot wait for it. RB has been getting reports of a car issue. Car number 11 has significant skill issue. Yeah, significant skill issue would probably be the best way to describe what's happened to Sergio Perez. Albon out of Q1, a bit of a surprise there. Colapinto makes it through in 9th place. Albon in 18th. Albon did get a lap time deleted. Quite a few drivers did get a lap time deleted. I'm just going to run through the list. Leclerc got a lap time deleted. So did Alonso. So did K-Mag. And so did Hulkenberg. So that is why. That's why I think Alonso and Albon didn't make it through, because they just had lap times deleted. And it was unfortunate for them, but rules are rules. You go past the white line, your lap time gets deleted. The Q2 data has just come through, folks, and Q2 will be starting in a matter of minutes. In fact, it'll be starting in about 45 seconds now. Thank you everyone for tuning in, and we'll have Q2, and then we'll have a 3-4 minute break, and then we will have Q3. Yeah, we've got a couple of replays here. Charles Leclerc missed the braking zone on one lap, so he's got a lap time deleted, but it would have been a quick lap anyway. I think Nico Hulkenberg went a little bit too deep into one of the corners, and so did K-Mag. Both Haas drivers going too deep at turn number 5, and that's why they got their lap times deleted. So yeah, RB might as well not run Paris in Q1 and save on tires. Yeah, I mean I don't know what they're going to do saving on tires because they're not going to need the softs in the race, but yeah, they might as well. I don't know. I mean, in the race, they're not going to have as many tire warm-up issues because there's going to be an extra 100 kilograms of fuel in the car, which means that there's an extra 100 kilograms of force pressing on those tires, warming them up. So they should be fine for the race. However, for quali, it is a bit of an issue. All right, but that is the end of Q1, folks, and Q2 is underway now. The green light is out at the end of the pit lane, and we've got Verstappen, Russell, K-Mag, Joe, everyone making their way out now very, very shortly for their runs. In fact, everyone's coming out, by the looks of it, on a fresh set of tyres. You might as well. New qualifying session, new set of tyres, and they'll probably use them for the next 15 minutes. Once again, we're going to see double warm-ups, so that means that the first set of runs are going to basically be irrelevant. There's no point looking into them. And yeah. Let me know what your predictions are, folks. Who do you think will be getting eliminated in Q2? Are we going to see any surprise eliminations from the top teams? Is it going to be Lewis Hamilton that gets eliminated, or is it going to be Piastri? Because potentially there could be a lap time that gets deleted, and you fall down the order, and that's it, game over. We shall wait and see. Red Bull opened a can and got the correct wings. Yeah, Red Bull does give you wings, guys. So I wouldn't be surprised if they got the rear wing, correct rear wing. Yeah. Okay. Here we go then. Yeah, as you can see on the right side of the screen with all the team radios, everyone's either just talking about prep or they're just saying how far away all the other drivers are. So, this driver is 3.3 seconds behind you, this driver is 5 seconds behind you. Either that or it is just how to warm up your tires, which strategy to use, which strategy mode to use, turn off the recharge, turn on the recharge. And yeah, very, very nice. Okay, then here we go, folks. George Russell starts out his qualifying lap. He's doing this on old set of soft tyres. I'm not sure exactly why he's doing that, to be honest. There's no need for him to be on an old set of softs, but I guess he can set a banker lap on a fresh set, on an old set, and then do a quick lap on a fresh set. He will have to come back into the pits. I suspect everyone will come back into the pits in this Q2 session. What do you feel about Merck improving right before Hamilton leaves? I don't think Mercedes have done it specifically just before Hamilton have left. I think Mercedes have been working away at their issues since the start of 2022, and they've finally found something that works consistently. Previously in last year they were sometimes good at some race weekends, and sometimes they were so bad they would be out of the points. So they finally found some consistency in their car, and they found some development improvements and things like that. So I don't think it's they've intentionally done it. Hamilton's leaving now, so we're gonna make the car quicker. I think it was just a matter of time before Mercedes became a fast team again, and it's just so lined up that Hamilton's leaving. All right, George Russell 133.5 from him, and Hulkenberg across the line 133.5. But folks, that is not the lap times that you will be expecting. We'll be expecting lap times much lower than that, I'm pretty sure. Wait. Oh no. I don't know. I really needed a coffee before I started the stream. I don't know why I didn't get a coffee. I'm definitely going to have a coffee before the race starts because I forgot what lap times the drivers were doing in Q1. Can someone please remind me in the chat? Oh my god, yeah. I definitely needed a coffee. Right. Yeah. Zhou dominance made more fans. I mean, yeah, Zhou's dropped down into fifth, of course. That wasn't going to last forever. And yeah, as we can see, Verstappen a 139.6. He had he's definitely not done. That's definitely not a quick lap. That's definitely a warm up lap. I think maybe Hamilton and Norris were pushing a 133.2. And Verstappen, yeah, Verstappen's now done his warm up. He's now pushed now in a 133.2. So we're expecting lap times around a 133, maybe dipping down into 132s. Piastri, oh my god, 1 millisecond is the gap between Piastri and Hamilton. Wow. Piastri's also done this on a used set of tyres, but his tyres are much less used than Lewis Hamilton's is. 1 millisecond, this is what I'm saying. The lap times are so close. And the circuit is quite long as well. Normally at Monaco, we see such close gaps because there's only, 3 or 4 kilometers where you can actually gain or lose lap time. But here, Las Vegas, 6 kilometers of racing, and still the lap times are incredibly close. Who needs coffee when you have 100k subs? Well, I think you need coffee if you've ever had 5 hours of sleep for 2 days in a row. I think that's normally the requirement. But yeah. All right. Zhou down into 12th place for now, and the two Ferraris still yet to set their lap time. So we'll wait and see what Guanyu Zhou can do. Maybe get it through into Q3. I think Bottas did at one point get the Sauber through into Q3. I'm not sure when. But if Zhou can do it, then that'd be fantastic. Okay, we need a Hulkenberg podium before GTA 6. I think that is a certain requirement. We do need a Hulkenberg podium before GTA 6 comes out. I think it comes out next year. So Hulkenberg podium before then. That'd be an amazing one. Honestly, I would cheer so much for Nico Hulkenberg if he got a podium. Yeah, I mean, the Haas is looking pretty quick. In the hands of Hulkenberg and K-Mag, the Haas has been very racy, and they're managing to get into Q3 consistently. In fact, they're approaching now on the 5th fastest team. So they're still quite a ways off, McLaren, Ferrari, Mercedes. However, I'd say out of just pure consistency, Haas could be up there as the 5th fastest team. Yeah. Just subscribed and liked. Well, thank you very much, Martello64. That is appreciated, buddy. And here we go, Max Verstappen, purple in the first sector. Let's see what Max is cooking. Here he comes out of turn number 9, gets very close to that wall, but perfectly driven there. Hits those apexes very nicely. And now makes his way towards turn number 11. What's it going to be for Max? He is still improving, which is looking good. Now onto the back straight. DRS will be wide open, and now it's all down to that Honda power unit outputting as much power as possible. He's 3/10 up on Hamilton's time as he comes across the middle sector line now, and he makes his way now towards turn number 14, 15, and 16. Carlos Sainz going extremely slowly there. I don't know what he's doing, but yeah, he finally picks up the pace as he comes out the final corner, and Max Verstappen, let's see what he can do. Hulkenberg almost got a podium in Oz 2023 with all the chaos. He could have been P3 and the race finishing behind the safety car. Yeah, oh my god, great lap there from Verstappen, half a tenth quicker than Hamilton. He did lose quite a bit of time in that final sector there, but I'm sure he'll be able to fix whatever went wrong. Yeah, Hulkenberg could have won in that, not won, sorry, got a podium. But I think it is a little bit of a requirement when you have 4 super fast teams. It's not like in say 2021 where it was just Red Bull and Mercedes dominating and everyone else a cut below them. So you could rely on the fact that if there were 2 DNFs in the top teams, then someone else was going to get a surprise podium. But when there are 4 fastest teams and they're all very close to each other, you're going to have to rely on so many more DNFs to happen for a surprise podium, or you're going to need rain to happen, and then you'll have something like Brazil 2024, which was, I must say, a 10 out of 10 race. Not even 10 out of 10 race. Like, it was definitely a 20 out of 10 race. One of the greatest races that I've ever watched. And another one of the Brazilian Grand Prix classics. But we're now here in Las Vegas. George Russell purple in the first, second, and not the third sector, but still manages to go up into first position. He's 2/10 quicker than Max Verstappen. Fantastic lap there from George Russell. Hamilton as well manages to improve, gets ahead of Verstappen, and goes up into second place. It's once again a Mercedes 1-2. We saw this in Q1. We see it again in Q2. They are just a tenth or so quicker than the rest of the competition. Russell the quicker of the two Merc drivers, and the other drivers have got a lot of work to do if they're going to get up into first or if they're going to get onto the front row. Charles Leclerc, fantastic lap, but it's only quick enough for third. Everyone's doing their laps on fresh tyres. I think Piastri did do his lap on an old set of tyres. Verstappen had done an extra lap on those tyres as well. So not perfectly optimal conditions for everyone. However, it's as close as it was really going to get. So we shall wait and see. Is it going to be a Merc 1-2? That could be incredible, really. It was 2023, not 2024. He was in P3 after the car's crashing after the restart, but the positions were switched back to something for the second restart and the safe. Yes. Oh, I think that was the one where Carlos Sainz got a 5-second penalty, even though that lap has been switched back or something. Like yeah, I remember that. It was a very confusing race. But yeah, so glad there's no sprint this weekend. Sprint is just too much and too unbearable. Well, Matteo, I've got bad news for you. The Qatar Grand Prix, which is next weekend, is a sprint weekend. So there will be qualifying on a Friday, there will be the sprint on a Saturday, and there'll be the race on a Sunday. All right. Oh, we've got 8,400 people tuned into live stream. Very much is appreciated, folks. If you haven't hit the like button, be sure to do so. It massively, massively helps out the channel. And if you are enjoying the coverage, then, very, very glad, and hope you continue enjoying the coverage. I'll be commentating for the race tomorrow. It should be an exciting race with all the teams so close together. And I don't think Mercedes will have the quickest race pace. I think it will probably be the Ferraris or the McLarens with the quickest race pace. So that's going to bring a very, very interesting battle on our hands with a Mercedes trying to defend with a slower car in race conditions. All right. Here we go then. We are 2 minutes and 42 seconds left of the session. Everyone except for Max Verstappen is out on the circuit. And the drivers currently in the elimination zone are Pierre Gasly, Franco Colapinto, Esteban Ocon, Liam Lawson, and Guan Yu Zhou. The three drivers that aren't in the top teams that make it through are the two Hasses and Yuki Tsunoda. So let's wait and see if that continues on, or will that change in the final 2 minutes of qualifying? What time is the race tomorrow? The race is whatever time it is in the world right now. If you go back 40 minutes, that is the time the race will be starting tomorrow. That's when the race will start. So T minus 40 minutes, but tomorrow. All right, then, here we go. We've got a big old queue, as we saw at the end of Q1. George Russell, Hamilton, K-Mag, and Hulkenberg will be leading the queue away, and Piastri and Norris will be the drivers at the back of the queue. So, of course, they will have the added risk that there could be a yellow flag ahead of them that ruins their quali lap. However, it's not going to be that much of a risk for them because McLaren are probably still going to make it through. In fact, no. Apologies for that mistake there. Piastri's already on a hot lap, and Norris isn't, but Piastri is. And in fact, look at that. Norris is giving Piastri a tow coming down the back straight. So McLaren have orchestrated a tow here, and Piastri's getting a tow off Norris. I think they're going to reverse it for Q3, but very, very nice there of McLaren to, after screwing Piastri over in the sprint weekend and having him to give up positions to Lando Norris, they're giving him a bit of a tow coming down the back straight, so that should be nice and helpful. And in fact, we see a couple of purple mini sectors there because Piastri has got a tow, and it's only fourth place for him though. Not a significant improvement for Oscar Piastri. Let's keep an eye out now on George Russell and Lewis Hamilton. What a first sector from Lewis Hamilton, 26.000, a tenth and a half quicker than Russell in the first sector. Russell goes a tenth and a half quicker in the middle sector compared to Hamilton, and now they are neck and neck going into the final sector. They've only got turn number 14, 15, and 16 that will make a difference, and they hit those apexes so perfectly. George Russell, as late on the brakes as humanly possible, flicks the car in for turn number 14, hits those apexes, and gets so close to the wall at turn number 16, flat onto the power, and across the line he goes. Does he improve? Yes, he does, and he goes a tenth and a half quicker than his teammate, but Hamilton goes 2 tenths quicker than George Russell. What a lap from Lewis Hamilton, and the experience is finally coming through. He's bouncing back from his run of bad form, and he goes 2 tenths quicker than George Russell. Fantastic lap there from Lewis Hamilton, and we could see a pole position from him, but maybe Carlos Sainz is going to come and stop him. A tenth and a half is the gap between Carlos Sainz and Lewis Hamilton. Guan Yu Zhou across the line. Unfortunately, it's 11th place for Guan Yu Zhou. Look at this final sector from Franco Colapinto. He has gone 356 kilometers an hour, and that's the highest top speed out of anyone. All of those purple mini sectors, this could be a great lap for Colapinto. Here he now comes. We've got Gasly 4th place. Colapinto is going slowly. No. Franco Colapinto, you were doing so well. You had such an amazing final sector, and now you've binned into the barriers, and the car is totally destroyed. The Williams mechanics have got their head in their hands again. They are not going to have enough spare parts for this. I don't know if they're going to be able to race tomorrow, because the budget cap is going to be an issue. They've had so many crashes in this season. The yellow flag is out. The session will not be restarted. We're probably going to get a full red flag, to be honest. But oh my god. You just how do they do this, man? How does Williams end up having to fix a car every single weekend? And it's not even a minor crash. All 4 corners of his car are totally destroyed. Every single suspension arm, every single steering rod, the power unit, the rear wing, the front wing, all of it's damaged. All of it's gone. Yeah. Oh my god, right, we've just got the replay here. Let's see what happened to Colapinto. He's exiting turn number 5, gets millimeters away from the barrier, good job there, getting close to the barrier, not hitting it. However, as he was going into turn number 15, 16, and 17, he hits the apex for 15, hits the apex for 6, doesn't hit the apex for 16, he hits the inside wall at turn number 16, and then goes straight into the barriers. Yeah, a enormous crash there. Colapinto is totally fine. The medical car has been deployed, but he's got out of the car himself. There's no issues there. But he clipped the inside wall, and that's the end of the session for Colapinto. I still don't know why they didn't deploy the red flag. Like, I know it's yellow flag conditions, quali has ended. I guess they're just getting everyone to come back to the pits. I mean, everyone is going to come back to the pits anyway, so it doesn't matter, but yeah. Oh my god. Yeah, I mean, this is a serious issue that that there could be a potential concern that Williams won't run all 2 cars for, if there's another crash or something like this next weekend, then there's a serious risk that Williams just won't have enough spare parts, or they won't be able to manufacture them under the budget cap, or yeah, I mean, they're going to have to sort this out. Pierre Gasly has done 0 damage to the car all season long. Not a single front wing broken, not a single rear wing, not a crash, not a dent, not a scratch, nothing from Pierre Gasly. $0 of damage for Pierre Gasly. However, Williams have definitely gone up into the millions. The start of Q3 will be delayed, folks. Just due to the fact that they're going to have to get a crane out to pick up Colapinto's car. Yeah. They're going to bankrupt this team, yeah. Oh my god. Average Williams season 3 points, 50 trillion in damages. Yeah. Oh my god. What is going on there? Right. Well, the drivers that have been eliminated out of Q2: Esteban Ocon, Kevin Magnussen, Guan Yu Zhou, Franco Colapinto, and Liam Lawson. The drivers that make it through are, well, the drivers that from the slower teams that make it through are Hulkenberg, Sonoda, and Gasly. Gasly up there in 4th position as well. A fantastic job from Gasly. Of course, getting a podium last weekend and now up into 4th position in quali. Yeah, fantastic. All he's not putting a foot wrong, really. Okay. We've hit our 1,000 like target. That is fantastic. I guess I can knock that up to maybe 1,200. Why not? 1,250. Nice, even number. What is the cash prize for the top 3 constructors teams in the championship? Unfortunately, I do not know. I know the difference between 3rd and 4th, and I'm pretty sure the difference is like 6 million. However, I don't know the total prize numbers. I think it all adds up to 110 million or something like that. So I guess if you split that within 10 teams, it's approximately 10 million for each. But of course, the teams at the top get a lot more of that. Yeah, I've forgot those numbers, and I'm once again going to blame that on the fact that I've had 5 hours of sleep. However, I wouldn't have known the numbers even if I didn't have 5 hours of sleep. So, at what time does Q3 start? Unfortunately, we don't know. It depends on how long it takes them to get a lorry out to Colapinto's car and pick it up. It will probably start in around about 3-4 minutes. It's not going to take that long. There's not that much damage. Well, I mean, there is a lot of damage. They're just going to pick it up and put it on a lorry. So. Yeah, Zhou in P13. What has happened there? He's outqualified Valtteri Bottas as well. A very good job there from Guan Yu Zhou. All right. Also, Noda having some sort of issues there. I think his downshifts were a little weird, and the car bounced around a bit. But I guess we'll find out what happens there to Sonoda. He manages to make it through into Q3 anyway. So. But yeah, don't quote me on that. I'm not 100% sure if it was the downshift or something wrong. But it looked like the car bounced about a bit while he was downshifting. Maybe that was just a bump on the circuit. Yeah. Constructors money last year. Red Bull got 140 million. Okay. So the fact that I said 110 million in total, that was wrong. It's probably 140 for the winners. I mean, I guess it must add up to like 1 billion at that point then. If you've got 140 for first place, then yeah, it may add up to 1 billion. I guess Formula One has a whole lot of money. And I'm guessing they have a whole lot of money because they go race at Saudi Arabia and Las Vegas and Qatar, who are just, running around with pockets full of money and they have no idea what to do with it. All right, they have picked up Colapinto's car now. It is basically on the lorry. The marshals have gone and picked up the debris as well. So the track should be cleared up very shortly. And yeah, not long now. I think that the crane operators are having some issues here because the wheels are just dangling off the car so much. It's a little bit hard to mount the car onto the crane, onto the back of the lorry, but. Yeah, they'll get it sorted out soon enough, and we should be good to go in 3-4 minutes. The marshal should pick up Stroll's car to make the GP much safer. Yeah, I still don't understand how Stroll crashed on the formation lap. Okay, like we've seen that happen before. I think Max crashed on the lap on the way to the grid in Hungary 2021 when it was wet. It's understandable, okay, crashing on the formation lap. It makes sense. The conditions aren't as you expect. However, after crashing, he drove into the gravel trap. Like, what was the thinking that was going on? Like, he wasn't losing any time. If the race was going on and he was thinking, oh, if I have to drive the whole long way around, then I'm going to lose so much time. So I'm just going to drive over the gravel. Then that kind of makes sense. Like, oh yeah, I want to lose less time in the race, so I'm going to drive over the gravel, take a bit of a risk. However, the formation lap was aborted. They were going to wait for him anyway, so he might as well have just taken the long route out and driven over the tarmac. However, he was like, no, I'm going to drive over the gravel. I'm sure that was feeling a bit of the pressure, feeling like a bit of an idiot crashing on the formation lap. But then driving into the gravel just made it so much worse. And then they had to get a lorry out, and then they had to pick him up, and then he couldn't take part in the race. I mean, I don't know what happened there. Yeah, Leclerc crashed in 2023 on the formation lap as well. It's like it's not unheard of to crash on the formation lap, but then after crashing, still keeping the car running and then driving into the gravel, that is just unforgivable, really. Don't think he thinks that deeply. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I don't know what's going on in Lance Stroll's mind. Um, as I don't know what's going on in anyone's mind, really. But here we are. We are got 7,000 people tuned in. Thank you everyone for tuning in. Track temperature is 14 degrees. Air temperature 11 degrees. As cold as it has been in Las Vegas. We are still under yellow flag conditions because they're picking up Colapinto's car. But Q3 will be starting as soon as they've got that car off the circuit. So 1 or 2 minutes now. How the Mercs is good, I think. Well, I don't think the Mercs are always as good. I think Mercedes are good on one weekend, bad on the other. However, it's a lot less of a, their performance swings aren't that big. I think in 2022, some weekends they'd be competing for the podium, some weekends they'd be out the points. That's how big the swings were. However, this weekend, and as of recently, I think it's just been switching between potentially the fastest team to potentially scoring a podium. Like, it's not been that big of a difference for Mercedes. But still, it's a little bit confusing. Some weekends they're quick, some weekends they're not. I think Mercedes just are managing to switch on the tyres much better than everyone else. And that's a big contributing factor to why they're quick this weekend. Ferrari were able to switch on their tyres super quick last year because they were having overheating issues for the whole of last year with their tyres. And, you arrive at Las Vegas, track temperature is 14 degrees, and overheating issues are the exact thing that you want. So Ferrari came out for qualifying, had their car, which overheated the tyres basically instantly, and they actually managed to warm up the tyres, whereas all of the other teams were struggling. They were like, why are these tyres so cold? And Ferrari were just like, I don't know what you're talking about here, and then managed to compete with Red Bull for quite a while. Of course, in the end, Max Verstappen did go out and win the race. However, Ferrari put up a much better fight than any other team did for basically the whole season against Red Bull. So, yeah, what happened to Colapinto? Colapinto, as he was driving through turn number 16, he pushed a little bit too hard, hit the inside wall, bounced off the inside wall onto the outside wall, damaged the front left, the rear left, the front right, and the rear right. Damaged all four corners of his car and the rear wing as well. So, yeah, that's what happened to Colapinto. Does Max have the right wing? Yes, he does, folks. I would just like to clarify this. I don't know why Helmut Marko said this, because he was clearly just, I don't know what he was talking about. But no, they do have the right wing. They just set it up wrong on Friday. So, today is Saturday. They fixed whatever they set up incorrectly yesterday, and they're fine. I think we got news that a new team, aka Andretti, is joining 2026. Yes, I think it's Andretti / Cadillac, or maybe it's just Andretti, but nonetheless, that has been going around a little bit, and I will wait for it to be officially confirmed, because there have been so much talk about Andretti joining and then not joining, and then maybe they're going to join but they're going to buy Sauber or something like that. I'm going to wait for the initial official announcement before I say anything, because as far as I know, it could fall through like in a matter of minutes. Get Porsche into Formula 1. Yeah, Porsche would be fantastic as well. We're going to have Audi, Porsche, Mercedes, Ferrari. I mean, it's just going to be like the GT cars, the GT3. You got the McLarens, the Ferraris, for the Mercedes, all of the teams competing. It would be super, super exciting. Got an ad again. I've disabled all of the adverts from YouTube, so yeah, I don't know. Like, I've figured out a method that that works pretty consistently. So I apologize for that. I can't disable the adverts when you click on my live stream at the start, but normally there shouldn't be an advert in between, like while the live stream's actually going on. So I don't know. Which country are you from? From the UK. So yeah, here I am. There we go. They've finally taken the car off the circuit. They've loaded it up onto the back of the lorry. They now drive into the escape road, and now they're just checking the barriers. The barriers have. It looks like the barriers have deflected quite a bit. This might take a bit longer than expected. But there's a big old kink in the barriers where Colapinto crashed. They've moved about a meter into the the barriers have moved a meter away. So they're going to have to either repair them, replace them, or check that they're still in good condition that everyone can continue driving. All right. All those car companies, and there's a Dutch driver and an energy drink team that wins every single race in the season. Like, yeah. I mean, what can you say? Red Bull are just a pretty interesting company. They'll do everything apart from market their energy drink. I've never seen a Red Bull advert that has actually been like, drink our energy drink. It's just been Red Bull, here we do a coup. You know, we jump out of a plane without a parachute and we still manage to survive. And they don't even advertise their drink. And then they're just like, and then they still get sales because, I don't know, they just do. Fantastic marketing department down there at Red Bull. That's all I'm going to say. Is there DRS in quali? Yes, there is. There's DRS down the two straights. I'll show you here. There's DRS between turn 12 and 15, and there's also DRS between those two corners as well. So those are the two DRS zones on the circuit. There's no DRS down here where Colapinto's crashed. I don't know why, but I think we did have an extra DRS zone, it would make it a little bit too easy to get overtakes done. So yeah. Right, I'm going to have a quick sip of water, otherwise my throat is going to start hurting. Yeah. Drake bet 210k on Charles. What are your thoughts on that? Um, well, I don't know. I mean, what, on Charles getting pole or Charles winning the race? I don't know if he can get pole because the Mercedes are looking super quick. But I'm sure Drake doesn't really care. Drake has got more money than any person can really imagine. So I'm sure it's not going to matter, even if he does lose 210k. Yeah. Right. Oh, you bet on Charles winning. All right. Well, I guess we shall. I guess we'll see. Is McLaren not capable of making their own power unit? Ooh, that's an interesting question. Well, it's a pretty big development, to have to invest the whole thing into creating a new power unit. I think in 2026 it should be a little easier, because they're going to get rid of the MGU H. I think it is. They're getting rid of the MGU H and having the MGU K, or it's the other way around. But that should make it slightly easier to develop a power unit. However, it is still a very big cost investment. And they're doing pretty well with Mercedes. So I don't see why they would. When you can just buy a power unit from someone else, then why would you? But I don't know. It's a pretty big upfront investment. If McLaren somehow get the money, I'm sure they could. With all the sponsor money that they're getting, I'm sure they could invest it into building out a power unit. But there's also the risk it just turns out like the Alpine power unit. It's good, but it's really not up to the Formula One like peak performance level, and then you end up, you spend so much money trying to develop a car and a power unit, and then you end up just switching to the Mercedes power unit in 2026. Like, it could also go like that and be a big waste of money. So, we shall wait and see. Just came in. Why is the delay in Q3? Because Colapinto crashed, and when he crashed, the barrier moved about half a meter in the direction that he was driving. So they are just double checking the barrier's fine, and if another driver was to crash into it, they're not going to have any serious injuries or anything like that. Yeah. Oh, that's my alarm going off. Let me just turn that off. Right. The most depressed garage in 2024. Oh, it's most definitely Williams. There's no doubt about that. Yeah. All right. They're still taking a while now. They've managed to get the car back at Williams. The Williams mechanics are going to have a long night ahead of them. Well, it actually wouldn't be a night. I think they're going to go to sleep and repair it in the morning because it's a night race. However, a long day tomorrow to try and repair that car with the limited spare parts that they do have. How long will this yellow flag take? I would have expected it to finish by now. However, we've had more than 15 minutes of delays at this point, and it's just purely due to the fact that the barrier has moved. I don't know what they're doing about that. They haven't shown us any shots. They're just showing us shots of fans, cheering in front of when the camera pans to them. So race controllers as helpful as ever, and the TV directors as helpful as ever, really, giving us not lots of information. They give us absolutely no information about what's actually happening and when it's going to restart. So what can you do? All right. Who's your favourite driver and team? My favourite driver is Sebastian Vettel. My favourite team would be no one. Yeah. I don't know. I didn't really support a team. I just support the team that Seb Vettel was driving for, really. So, yeah. Um, have they put a graphic to say what time Q3 starts? No, they haven't. We've got no message from race control. They just said it'll be delayed. Yeah. So that's the situation that we're at. All right. Yeah, no messages from race control, folks. Apologies, I can't answer your questions of how long before Q3 starts because race control, they said 15 minutes ago that Q3 would be delayed. Not even 15. They said 20 minutes ago Q3 would be delayed, and then they haven't said anything since. So, yeah. Race control went to sleep after the yellow flags. Yeah, I mean, it is midnight in Las Vegas, so maybe they did go to sleep. I can tell you for certain that I'm going to sleep after qualifying ends because that's gonna add to my 5 hours of sleep and maybe get up to 8 hopefully. Yeah. All right. FIA doing FIA things. Yeah, let's fire the old race director and put in a new one who's going to be worse. Yeah. I don't know what the whole reasoning behind firing the race director was. I'm sure I know the reasoning. The reasoning was there was a lot of complaints about why the VSC took so long and whatever. However, I don't think it is totally the race director's fault. If you speak to someone that has been a marshal on the circuit, they sort of conveyed the idea that they don't directly get to speak to the race director. The information gets passed through about 3 people. There's also translation involved because the marshals will be speaking, the local language. And if the local language isn't English, then the race director doesn't know what they're saying. So it has to go through a translator, and then they have to convey the severity of the crash. Because the marshals don't have the power to press the red flag button. They have to convey the information saying there's been a crash here, it's been a big crash, they're going to need the red flag, and this has to go through a translator. The race director might ask some questions. He might say, oh, there's going to, how big is the crash? Is there debris on the circuit? And all of these things are checked and asked, and then the red flag comes out. So maybe they need to fix their system rather than fixing the people, rather than replacing the drivers or the people that are part of the system. Yeah. Right. Um, how long will tomorrow's race be? It'll be 50 laps. 50 laps of racing at Las Vegas tomorrow. Yeah. If your day is bad, then remember you're not a Williams mechanic. Yeah. Okay. Um, Colin Pinto's car's already back in the garage, by the way. So the car is totally fine. Well, the car's not fine, but the car is back in the garage. So the only thing they're looking at now is the barriers. All of the drivers still sat in the cars, just waiting for the session to restart. Now, it's been nearly 25 minutes since the end of Q2, and they should. Well, they're still repairing the barriers. We need to have marshals that can talk English. Yeah, I mean, you could say that. However, not in every single country you're going to have marshals that can speak very, very good English. I'm sure, when you race in America and Australia and the UK, you can guarantee that. But you can't always guarantee that you're going to have marshals that can speak good English. And also, these marshals don't get paid. The marshals are volunteering, so maybe the FIA should, bother and pay some marshals and have marshals that can speak English, and they get flown around the world, and those marshals are the same marshals at every single circuit. That could be a way to fix problems. But who knows? Hello, Kia. It's nice to see that you're here. Yeah, we are currently just here waiting for a red flag. Well, not a red flag. Oh, we've got a message from race control. Finally, session's restarting in 1 minute, guys. Let's go. Session is restarting. All right. Yeah, the marshals don't get paid. It's totally voluntary basis. Why should the marshals speak English? Well, it's simply just for communications. The marshals don't have the power to deploy the red flag. They have to talk to the race control and then the race director to say that, oh, there's been a big crash, there's been debris on the circuit, you need to put out a virtual safety car or a red flag or whatever. However, because the marshals don't have the power, they have to talk to someone, and if they can't speak English, the race director it has to go through a translator, and then the translator will send it to the race director, and the race director will ask some questions, and having the extra translation step makes the whole communication process a lot longer, which delays a red flag coming out ASAP, or which delays the safety car coming out as soon as possible. So, yeah. All right. Not in Australia, it's 50-50. 50-50 do get paid quite handsomely too, and the others don't. Oh, okay. Interesting. It is a big responsibility for an unpaid position. Of course, the people that do get the unpaid position, it's they do have experience. That it's not going to just be some random person. You have to first be a marshal for karting, and then you have to be a marshal for GT racing, and then you have to do it for Formula 3, and then you can maybe do it for Formula 1. Like, it's not you can't just instantly just volunteer and get it. You have to have some prior marshalling experience, but still it will just be for free. At least in the UK, I know it's for free. I guess in Australia, it's 50-50. All right, folks, but enough of the marshal talk and the crash talk and why the FIA is so bad. Let's get back to the start of Q3. All of the drivers now queuing up at the end of the pit lane. 35 seconds till we get underway for the start of the session. Let me know what your predictions are. Who is going to get pole position? Is it going to be one of the Merc drivers? We saw that they were 1-2 earlier in Q2. They were 1-2 in Q1. Are they going to be able to replicate that success in Q3? Will Max Verstappen come in to spoil the fun? Let's wait and see. All right. Hollow Hash. I once marshalled the Singapore Grand Prix. I had some experience in karting marshalling. Yeah, that's normally how it goes. Most marshals start in club racing and then national meetings and then international. Yeah. All right. Here we go then. Everyone making their way out the pit lane. Hamilton, Russell, and Hulkenberg yet to come out. Yeah, there we go. Hamilton leaves his garage, and Russell will be following suit. Very nice. I think Hulkenberg may sit in the pits. He might not have enough sets of tyres, but we'll wait and see. All right. Oh, Preggy there. Thank you for joining the YouTube member. Very much is appreciated. Yeah. It's also free in Singapore, 100% voluntary. Okay, yeah, makes sense. I marshalled in Las Vegas last year, and the spots they put us in are actually so far away from where the crashes actually are. Yeah, see, that's the other thing. Because it's a street circuit, like, of course, the barriers are very, very, like, they have to be very strong and be able to resist the force, but then the marshals also have to have good enough visibility. There are so many problems well, it's not so many problems, but there's some issues and they have to be sorted out. But I don't think the FIA really take much feedback on these kind of things. Ideally, they should, but normally when things change, with the FIA, it's not because some marshal said, "Oh, we don't have visibility." It's because there's been a big crash, and then the media, there's a big, scandal in the media being like the marshals can't actually see what's going on, and then the FIA will fix something because the media have released a bunch of articles about it. So it's just a bit of a problem in the system. But anyway, that's enough of the FIA talk. I'm quite happy to constantly talk about how terrible the FIA is, but they do some good things here and there, like the halo and a lot of the safety things that they do. So we'll give them credit where credit is due. But here we are for qualifying, not for the FIA podcast. So yeah, everyone's out on a fresh set of tyres, apart from Oscar Piastri and Lando Norris. They're out on used sets. Oh, in fact, Gasly's out on a used set as well. But yeah, everyone else is out on a fresh set, doing double warm-ups by the looks of it. We should be looking at lap times around about 1 minute 33, maybe 1 minute 32 if you're super quick. Yeah. Oh, Tsunoda's out on a used set, and so is Hulkenberg. Okay. Yeah, Gasly, Tsunoda, Hulkenberg, and then both McLarens out on used sets. Everyone else on fresh sets. We could see some double warm-up laps. We may not, though. It all depends on the time situation. And here we go. What is sector 1, sector 2, sector 3? They're all the micro sectors or the mini sectors. So essentially what happens is the track is split into 3 sectors as normal, but then they get split even further into smaller sections, and then you can tell which bit of the track the drivers are particularly quick on. So for example, if someone's getting a tow down the back straight, all of their mini sectors are going to be purple, and it indicates that they've got a tow. So it's just a little bit more information on where specifically the drivers are fast and where they're specifically slow. Okay, very nice lap there from Lando Norris, but Carlos Sainz goes 0.2 quicker, 1:33.022, and now let's see what the Mercs can do. Now, the Mercs are doing double warm-ups by the looks of it. Lewis Hamilton in his first sector was 30 seconds, so yeah, definitely a double warm-up for Lewis Hamilton. Hulkenberg across the line, 5th place for him, 33.7. Charles Leclerc, though, he is 7/8 tenths off his teammate. He's got a lot of improvement to do. I think he had a bit of a mistake on his lap, and that's why the gap is so big. But yeah. All right. Here we go then. George Russell, purple in the first sector. Very, very nice. He's looking very racy, in fact, George Russell. Pushing all the way to the limit. Max Verstappen's purple in the middle sector. Here he goes through turn number 14, 15, 16. Now he's got a fantastic exit all the way up to the barriers, across the line. He goes 2nd place there for Max Verstappen. He's 2 tenths back from Carlos Sainz. Carlos Sainz, sensational lap from him. And the McLarens aren't getting close. Now let's see what the Mercs can do. The Mercedes have been super quick all weekend. And now's their time to shine. George Russell, purple in the first sector, green in the second. Across the start-finish line he goes. It's provisional pole for George Russell. He dips down into the 122s, 132s, the first driver into the 132s. And he is 2/10 clear of Carlos Sainz. Let's see what Lewis Hamilton can do. I think Hamilton actually aborted his lap. He must have made a mistake. 38 seconds in the middle sector. That's definitely an aborted lap there from Lewis Hamilton. I don't know if he's going to come into the pits or do another lap because he's not going to have enough time. If he does another lap, he won't have enough time to do a double warm-up for his final run. This is the thing. If you're doing double warm-ups, 12 minutes is a very compressed schedule. You've got to do your double warm-up ASAP, come back into the pits, ASAP switch, and then go back out again. So if you Hamilton made a mistake, locked up going into I think turn number 12, and then F1 Gamer, is your mic okay? Because your voice is not as good as the start of the stream. No, my mic is fine. My voice is not fine. That is I've got a bit of a cold, so yeah. Right, 5 minutes remain of this session, and Hamilton comes into the pit. So it looks like he's just going to do another run. There's no point doing. Yeah, no point. No point doing another run on a set of used tires. Can you show where the sectors start? Yeah, I can. So this is, of course, the start of the first sector, the start-finish line. And then the end of the first sector is just here after turn number 5. That's where the first sector ends. The second sector ends just after turn number 12. And then you've got the final third sector that goes along the rest of the straight. So you've got after turn number 12 and after turn number 5 is the end of the second and the first sector, respectively. Okay. Here we go then. This is it. Final runs of Q3. Piastri and Norris first to make their way out of the garage. Then we've got Leclerc and Sainz. Then we have Gasly behind them. Then we have Tsunoda. And everyone coming out with 4 minutes left on the clock. That means everyone is doing a double warm-up for certain. And yeah. All right. And we've just got a replay here of Charles Leclerc. He was going through, I think it was turn number 7. Turn number 7, and got a whole bunch of oversteer, which lost him around about half a second, and that explains the big gap between himself and his teammate. Okay. Yeah, the whole of Q3 is a Mercedes sandwich here, folks. Hamilton in 10th and George Russell in 1st. Okay, here we go. Who's going to get pole, folks? Is it going to be... actually, I don't know. I think I'm going to go with George Russell. I'm not going to lie. George Russell has been so quick. Even in FP3, he was managing to pull off really quick laps. I think in Q2, he just got pipped by his teammate. However, I'm gonna go for George Russell. I'd like to be surprised. It would be amazing if it'd be Carlos Sainz or Charles Leclerc pulls out a lap out of nowhere. But we shall wait and see. Hamilton's in the pits because he aborted his lap after turn number 12. He locked up at turn 12, so he had to end his lap, come into the pits, and now here he is. He's out of the pits now. With only 2 minutes left on the clock, he's just doing a singular warm-up lap, and the same can be said for George Russell when he comes out of the pits, and Verstappen will probably be doing the same. Yeah, everyone not really pushing too hard. They're all just driving around fairly slowly for their warm-ups. We'll have the final runs starting in a few seconds. Well, not a few seconds, 30, 40, 50 seconds. Okay, if we look at previous pole positions, Charles Leclerc got pole here last year in 2023. Before that, it was Prost in 1982. That was the last time they raced in Las Vegas. But yes, Charles Leclerc got pole here last year, so maybe just maybe he can pull out one of those special Charles Leclerc laps and stick it on pole. Also, folks, we are 4... no, it doesn't matter. I don't know what I was going to say.
We're not too far away from our like target though, so if you could hit the like button, that'd be fantastic. We are now 1 minute 40 seconds left on the clock. Oscar Piastri will be leading the way for the start of the quali runs. George Russell will be right at the back of the pack. Here we go. Who's it going to be? Is it going to be a smooth operation from Carlos Sainz? Is it going to be another pole for George Russell? Or is Charles Leclerc going to pull out a sensational lap? Let's wait and find out. Piastri makes his way through turn number 1, 2, and 3. So close to the barriers on the exit of turn number 4 there from Oscar Piastri. Sensational driving. And here comes Lando Norris as well, doing a very similar pace. Let's see what they do once they come across the first sector line. Oscar Piastri comes out of turn number 5. He's green in the first sector, not all that quick. Hulkenberg, in fact, fastest first mini sector. It looks like he's pretty quick down the back straight there. Down the main straight. Norris and Piastri basically identical first sector times. The McLarens are very equally matched for pace. And Charles Leclerc as well, he's a little bit further behind in the first sector. However, in the second or third sector, he could be a little bit quicker because his tyres can still hang on that little bit more. Piastri exits turn number 12, gets so close to the barriers once again, doesn't lock up like Hamilton did, but he's just millimeters away from the barriers there. Opens the DRS now, heading towards turn number 14. It's going to be super late braking there for Oscar Piastri. He's got to hit the apex of 14 and 15, not hit the barrier like Colapinto did, and then foot flat to the floor all the way to the start-finish line. So reaching 347 before he slams onto the brakes, flicks the car left, right, and left again. And across the line comes Oscar Piastri. What's it going to be? Third place for Piastri. Provisional third place for Piastri. Here comes Lando Norris. The checkered flag is out, so this is the end of qualifying. These laps are the laps that count. Norris up into second place. Great lap from Norris. The margins are so close. He's half a tenth quicker than his teammate. Charles Leclerc, what a lap from him. He goes slightly quicker than George Russell. Let's see what Hamilton can do now. Hamilton currently in 10th. Messed up his first quali lap. He crossed the line and he's still in 10th place. How has Hamilton done that? I have no idea. Sainz up into first place. What a lap by Carlos Sainz. Gasly into second. Gasly, after getting a podium last weekend, into second place. Tsunoda in 6th. And now Verstappen and Russell are the two drivers remaining. Verstappen currently in 9th position. He comes across the line. It's only 4th for him. Is it going to be Carlos Sainz? Is it going to be George Russell? Here comes George Russell out of the final corner, and it's pole position for George Russell by 1/10 of a second. He's up on pole. Carlos Sainz in second, and Pierre Gasly in third position again. How has he done this? I have no idea. The Alpine at the start of the season was an absolute tractor, and now he's in third position in qualifying. What? Wow, what a lap there by Pierre Gasly. And George Russell, no mistake there. That was a sensational lap. Look at the gap between him and his teammate. Hamilton really messed up his quali lap again. And he's in 10th place. A Mercedes sandwich for Q3. And George Russell is on pole. Brilliant job there. Alright folks, thank you everyone for tuning in. Very much do appreciate all of the support. I will be commentating for the race tomorrow. In fact, once the stream ends, it'll take you to the race stream. So if you could just hit the like button, if you could hit the reminder button on the race stream, that would very much help out. I'm going to go back to sleep because I've had 5 hours of sleep. And I will be commentating for the race tomorrow as well. So be sure to hit the like button on the race stream and be sure to subscribe and the reminder button as well. But a sensational lap, and oh my god, tomorrow's race is going to be brilliant. Yeah, with Russell in first, Sainz in second. It looks like the McLarens are very quick in race pace as well, so they're going to be making their way up through the pack. This is going to be... And Norris and Verstappen starting alongside each other. Verstappen in 5th, Norris in 6th. That'll be fun. Is Verstappen just going to send Norris into the barriers? We'll wait and see. Yes, so I shall see all of you tomorrow. Thank you everyone for tuning in, and it's been a pleasure commentating to you guys. Have a wonderful morning, day, afternoon, evening, or night, depending on where you are in the world. And yeah, just hit the like button and reminder button for the race tomorrow. See you in 22.5 hours.